Blue Justin here, still Justin, still not blue, and it's time for my November haul. This might well be the last video before Christmas because my recording room is the guest bedroom that we're clearing out, this, that and the other. I better get going because this is quite a long video, because all the items that came out on 2nd of December, which were a lot, I know a lot of you might know that, that I really wanted and I ordered, came through at the end of November, so they're in this haul. So, you know, some of you will know what to expect coming up. First up, just an old one that I picked up. As I said, my wife is a big fan of disaster movies, and I hear this is a good one, so I found this cheap and I picked up Perfect Storm. I haven't got much more to say about it apart from, you know, I'm going to give it a try. I'm not usually a big disaster movie person, but I've watched one or two recently and they've been better than I expected, so there we go. Next up, one that has split opinion. I haven't actually seen it yet, but I went ahead and bought it anyway, and that is Alien Romulus. I obviously got the steelbook, though I must confess the design on the Amaray slipcover is more to my preference rather than the montage, sort of AI put together graphic montage that they've used on the steelbook. Not that I dislike it, but I actually prefer the design that they used on the slip of the Amaray release. And obviously I much prefer the design of the American Amaray slip release, which is actually not just spot gloss. It actually is the face hugger is actually embossed, and it's absolutely brilliant. Now, if they'd only combined it so they'd put that image on a steelbook and spot gloss and embossed the face hugger on the front, that would have been perfect. But each their own. Next up, another one I haven't seen, but most people seem to like, though not everybody, I can assure you. This is Beetlejuice. This is the Zavvi exclusive. This is the first Zavvi exclusive, more to the point, which is glow in the dark. I haven't tested the glow in the darkness about it, but apparently it's extremely effective. The only thing I would say about it is that I've heard that similar problems with to the Crow steelbook a while back, that the plastic slipcover, which has got in this case has got the glow in the dark paint on it, the paint hasn't stuck to the plastic slip itself, the paint they've used, and I haven't even heard about people trying to peel off these age rating stickers, which are the big problem with the Crow. But I've even heard that just that tacky glue that holds the J card in place has pulled off some of the paint. So, I mean, obviously, you know, people's experiences are varying. Some are getting good ones, like I got a Crow one that had no problems at all peeling off the age stickers, but some people had major difficulties. I did have a t-shirt lined up for this one, but I can't find it. I've just turned up the house upside down searching for most of the t-shirts for the rest of this video, so I'm just going to put a picture of what I wanted to be wearing just up here. There you go. Right, so I'm trying to rush through a little bit because I was delayed by the fact that I was just about to start recording and the window cleaner turned up, bang against the window in this room. Right, next up we have another one, and that is the long-awaited Godzilla -1. Yep, it expected to be a while by those in the know, because the deal with that the company who distributes them means that their product only gets released in Japan and doesn't hit the West for a very long time, especially compared when the fact we used to so much more things hitting the cinema and then coming out practically 3 months later on physical, probably 2 months later or less on streaming sometimes. That's not the case for this product, and they couldn't make an exception for this particular one out of the contract just because it was very, very popular in the cinemas. So more people should like anime, because it's all through All the Anime, I believe this is released. Yes, it is alltheanime.com. Yeah, it's another one I haven't seen, but I'm hearing this is absolutely fantastic. And obviously I've got the Steelbook, though I didn't go for the really, really expensive Steelbook extras package sort of thing. So yeah, that's Godzilla -1. Next up, another long-awaited title for me, mostly because the release date has been pushed back at least twice, and that is Black Cat 2. This is a story of a super violent assassin who's got a microchip inside her head to control her rages. This one is about trying to stop a bunch of terrorists trying to assassinate Boris Yeltsin. I've seen a couple of trailers for it. I didn't want to watch too much in case it gave away everything, but it looks absolutely mad, action-packed. It brings essentially, apart from the martial arts, it brings wire work to the modern era. It's got mad shoot 'em up sequences, and it's got James Bond style ski chases, car chases, goodness knows what. And it looks like it's going to be a load of fun, and I'm going to watch it in a double bill with the original Black Cat, which I also have. Next up, it's another film I haven't seen, sorry, yet again. This is Trainspotting 2. No, it isn't. This is a film I have seen. Sorry, this is Trainspotting. Trainspotting 2 Steelbook was released a while ago, and everyone I think was wondering where Trainspotting was on Steelbook, and here it finally is. Very good film. Sometimes, there are hard watch bits of it, whilst it's got some very good humour in it. Some bits are kick home really quite hard, and it's a fantastic film that I remember seeing at the cinema, and it having a gut punch me there as well. Though I did laugh at some of the scenes that were meant to be funny. Yeah, so that's the Steelbook release for Trainspotting, which is finally got here. Next up, and this one's for you, Alan. And that is, of course, the Steelbook of The Terminator. Again, obviously 4K. I personally really like the design. I love the film. I meant design on the Steelbook. I love the film. I have got one of the Blu-ray Steelbooks that is also an absolutely fantastic design. Some may say, probably I think is better than this one, but I still rate this design. Each to their own. But I'll put a picture of the other Blu-ray Steelbook that I have. I think there was an exclusive just up there. But yeah, I hear that obviously there are still controversial issues on the transfer, because of James Cameron's desire to make everything look like it was filmed in digital, even though it was on film, and he wants it to look like it was filmed today, even though it wasn't. So he's trying to remove the So it's tried to make it look more like digital, and in doing so, he's been criticised a lot for removing a lot of the detail when he does so. Apparently, at least this one is one of his more preferred, at least, transfers, and there are only there's a lot less criticism of this one, though I haven't actually seen the transfer myself yet. Can't wait to actually do so, though. Probably should have done since when I had a bit of time recently. Next up, an oldie, but I decided to pick it up because it was a decent price, and that is Despicable Me 4. I have obviously got Despicable Me 1 to 3. They're available in 4K. This one isn't, however, for whatever reason. However, I don't have them in 4K. I have them in Blu-ray, so I don't particularly feel the need to try and see. I can't remember if there's a US 4K. I think there might be, but I'm not going to try and get the US 4K to match my other 4Ks because I'm matching it by getting the UK Blu-ray, and they all match anyway. Next up, two films that are certainly not like a nice easy watch like Despicable Me 4, and these are The Nun and the Devil, non-exploitation film. The only main thing I can say about it is it's not very good. I actually watched it. It's a decent restoration. The extras are great. It does have a Kim Newman audio commentary, which would have been really good to find out more, etc. It's got great interviews. It's got featurettes. It's got a little featurette on the whole non-exploitation genre, and interviews with film historians, and reversible sleeve. See whether it's safe to check. Yes, that is a safe one. But yes, actually the weird thing is that's not the picture that I was expecting. I think even though the slipcover it used to come with is normally different, they actually picture not the internal cover with having the same image as the slip, which it doesn't. No, just wasn't particularly impressed. For those interested, if you are after watching, seeing the one recognisable name to me anyway, actress in here, which is Ornella Muti, who plays Princess Aurora in Flash Gordon. Absolutely gorgeous. If you're hoping, you thought, oh, it's 18 rated, it's an exploitation film, it would be of academic interest to watch her in that environment, shall we say. Be aware of the fact that she's the one nun who doesn't get a kit off. Next up, another questionable, well, not questionable, but I shall be carefully covering up some of the cover. And I mean, I know it's been shown by a couple of people, but and seems to be no problem. But this is, what's it called? Oh yes, Facets of Love. It's quite interesting in that in the pre-released pictures there is a wisp of smoke coming across here where my finger is, covering up the potentially problematic part of the image. When it actually came to releasing it, they decided to release it uncut, so to speak. And similarly, on the it's the same image on the not on the slip. Now, I actually thought this was pretty pretty good, especially when I did a little bit, just a tiny bit more of reading around it and what it was trying to do and what you should concentrate on. Now, I don't think you should necessarily have to do that for all films, but this one, I think it just helped me a little bit to get past some of the characters who are relatively unlikable. And I actually rated it quite highly once I took it for what it was trying to get across. And I actually sat back and then quite enjoyed it. And what's really, really annoying is that, as I was saying, None of the Devil had brilliant, brilliant extras, commentaries, discussions, all around it, this, that, and the other. This one, no, nothing. And this is the one that could really have done with a lot of extra features to get into the meat, so to speak, of explaining some of the history behind some of the mythological elements and the dynasties and where it all ties together, that helped me really appreciate the film more. This is actually a Shaw Brothers movie, which is who are much more used to, or people are much more used to them producing action martial arts movies. But this one is obviously not the case. It does have Jackie Chan in, but he's just a really, really small bit part as a waiter in the brothel, which the whole thing is centered around. It's centered around the brothel in which all these multiple stories interact. It's sort of like it's not exactly a bit piece, but it tells various stories. And there's also flashback stuff as well, as people tell tales of the past. They're actually acted out on screen. Oh, not they're actually no, inserted as a story. And you know, the final one of those actually could have made a whole brilliant film in itself. Anyway, actually, that's one I might. I've also, like I said, obviously I've watched. I might actually do a combined review of this one and The Nun and the Devil, combined purely not because they're that similar, but because you might expect them to be relatively similar. But I can I can use my reviews to show why I think this one is really good and that one isn't. This one again does have, however, reversible art. Yep. Oh, it's also got some postcards with cast photos. Those look reasonably safe cast photos as well. So that's nice. The back of the slip is uncut as well, so I'll cover that up. But it's the same on the back of the reversible art. But that's the cover of the original poster cover, and that's the reversible artwork. If you wanted to watch that, or you wanted to put that on the outside and have it different than the slip. Again. Anyway, yeah, okay. So, I'll pop it away again. Actually, I'll put them again in a minute. Right. Okay. That's that lot. So next up we have Deadpool and Wolverine. It's not like you knew I wouldn't get it, or not like you even suspected I wouldn't get it. Big question is, which cover on the 4K steelbook did I get? Did I get the Wolverine one, or did I get the Deadpool one? And I think that answers the question. I really love them going head to head in that position. I mean, obviously, it's not a proper mate because you've got the characters twice now, but I do like the main part of the way that they link the main part of the image, so it looks like they're facing off. The back cover is pretty much identical, apart from the barcode. I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed this when I saw it at the cinema. One of the very few films I went to the cinema to see this year. I really hit home. It was brilliant. I was slightly concerned at the amount of stuff that they expected you to know from watching the TV shows, especially Loki with the TVM. I hadn't watched Loki yet, had no idea what the TVM was, but luckily it was. I'm reasonably. I like to think I'm reasonably bright. I worked out quite quickly what was approximately going on, even though I didn't know how to relate it to the multiverses and etc. etc. But I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I do accept, however, it was very much based. My actual love of it at the cinema was very much based on seeing the super cameos, as I call them. Cameos are usually walk-on parts that don't speak. A lot of these parts spoke and interacted quite a lot, so I'm calling them super cameos. Copyright DME. I have rewatched it since, and still really enjoyed it. But I can see on multiple rewatches how it won't quite have the impact that it did, especially for the first time you see it, because you know who's coming, you know the joke that's happening next. Now I know that's true of many a film, but I think it particularly hits home, or will hit home with this one in time. That's not to say it's not a great movie, and it's not to say that it's not an absolute blast to watch, because I have rewatched it and it was an absolute blast and I was still laughing. But it's not perfect by any means. So right. Next up, next up, I actually do have one, in my opinion, is almost perfect to a certain extent, and that is The Great Escape. Now that's what I call a classic, as they say. This is an Arrow release, so here we go. With all bells and whistles. This is the, like I said, limited edition. Exclusive. Lots of freezer. Absolutely superb film. This one is, I believe, the best release you can get of it. I know that there is an American 4K as well, and there's a third 4K actually, but the general US 4K does not have HDR, and this one does. It also has, I've seen from reviews, I haven't watched it yet, I'm not sure my set will be good enough to necessarily tell the difference. Yours probably will be, but it holds the image seems to have a better grain structure. It hasn't been played with, maybe, I don't know, quite so much in the transfer. I'll just say it's apparently the best transfer you can get. It's certainly better than the US release because of the HDR features, and on top of that, it has a second film in it called The Great Escape 2, The Real Great Escape. What's really interesting in that is that it's not a documentary as it might sound. It is actually a second movie, which is also presented in 4K, but it isn't. That one isn't presented with HDR. That one is only got SDR, like the US release of Great Escape. However, it's almost impossible to get hold of any other way. It's a bonus, inverted commas, in this one, and it's 3 hours long. I mean, you're getting a 3-hour film for the price of, I can't remember what it was, but it's very reasonable. I made a note. Oh, well, even if you pay full price for it, this is a 4K, top of the range, loads of extras, 3-disc release for, what was it, 3-disc release for only 30 quid, and you're getting a second movie that you probably haven't seen, a 3-hour movie in 4K, albeit without the HDR. Just part of the package. I mean, well done, Arrow. Come on. And obviously you've got lossless original, lossless mono, optional lossless DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, audio commentary, and then there's a second disc with the real Great Escape is a documentary. Great Escape 2 is called The Old Untold Story. That's just me misspeaking. And that is an exclusive with this limited edition. I think maybe when they re-release it later, that disc will be the one that won't get included. It probably will still include the Blu-ray of the bonus features, but which goes on and on. Author and historian interviews, appreciation of the film, composer discussion. Elmer Bernstein explores the film's place in the war movie canon. Interviews with the career of John Sturges. Documentary about the making of the film, 4 parts. Including which you've got interviews with former POWs, discussion on the real character that Steve McQueen played, or the inspiration for, and the huge 2001 documentary exploring the planning and the execution. As it happens, I believe, as a quick précis, the Great Escape 2, The Untold Story, that second film I told you about, 3-hour one, I believe the plot on that one is somebody goes back into Germany and either searches down or punishes those who, I'm sorry, it's a minor spoiler, but I think everybody should have seen this by now. If you haven't, you should. If you goes back and avenges or find out what happened about the massacre of the escaped POWs, which was against the code of law, or even of war. They shouldn't have executed them when they caught. They should have put them back into the another POW camp. Anyway, going on. I'm trying to not go on too long. We have next up a very nicely slipped, and I've heard loads of good things about it. It did it appealed to me from the description, and that is Strange Darling in 4K. Now, of course, I heard fantastic stuff about it. I liked the description, so I picked it up. And the second I picked it up and it dropped onto the doormat, everybody from that point on has said, so I heard good things about it, but I watched it and I didn't like it. So I will obviously watch it myself and make my own decision, as is everyone should do. And I still find it interesting. Horror thriller. So I'm going to watch that. Other people who are used to watching horror thrillers might be able to guess the twist within the first 5 minutes, as they say on the many YouTube video, but I might not. Anyway, next up we have something I do know very, very well indeed and love, and that is Blake 7 Series 1, but now out on Blu-ray. Obviously, I'm hoping this is the first of all of them. There are only 4 seasons, whatever you want to call it, depending on how you want to call them. If you're UK and or American, it says series 1. To a certain extent, I prefer the American way of doing it, because you can call Blake 7 is a series, and season 1 is that bit of it. Anyway, and I really enjoyed this series. I mean, it got a bit. There was a point, I think it's midway through, I think it's approaching the 4th season, and some of the major characters almost thought of leaving as the plots went downhill, but they were persuaded to stay when they saw some of the finale bits and the fact they had some input. Apparently the picture quality on this is a massive improvement over the DVDs, which I have. It's got updated special effects on all the episodes. They're optional, and a lot of those special effects are not just CGI overlays. They are new model effects inserted, which really goes to show they've gone to town. Apparently someone very high up at the BBC physical media output production is a big Blake 7 fan, and they pushed this one through. That's what I'm hearing behind the scenes anyway. It's got some lovely features. It's got all the ones obviously off the Blu-rays, above the DVD, sorry, and also that's the what. So you've got new feature-length documentary interviews. You got a tribute to Stephen Grief, who was the first incarnation of Travis and the best. I don't care what anybody says. Convention footage, which is previously unreleased. Archive stuff, the continuity, the TV coverage and music from the record. High-def photo galleries, previously unseen images, all the stuff from the DVDs, it was like the featurettes, the audio commentaries and more. And there's the written archive stuff, like the production paperwork, scripts, studio floor plans. The downside of those is they were great on the DVDs, because you could just throw them into a DVD drive, and because they come in PDF format usually. The downside obviously is a lot fewer people, especially because they're not built into your laptop or desktop, whoever's got one nowadays, actually have an actual Blu-ray drive that can read files like PDF files, and copy them across, so you can actually look at those files. So you actually have to spend about, theoretically, if you haven't got one, you'd have to spend something like 5 times the amount of the release to actually, or 4 to 3 times, lots more than this release, to actually go and get something to read those items. Quite often, I don't know with this one, but quite often the that written material is available on the BBC website. I think it has been for certain Doctor Who releases with scripts and things like that. The soundtrack, I think it's just in the original mono. Yeah, so absolutely fantastic. I obviously hope it sold well enough to follow up with the following seasons, and obviously I believe they want to as well, but obviously it does have to sell well enough. So instantly I went ahead and bought it, but it has gone well. Blake 7 has always been less popular than Doctor Who, which obviously got the same treatment eventually going over to Blu-rays. But luckily the Blake 7 Blu-ray sets, they've started off on non-super duper special edition packaging, so the price isn't through the roof, which is nice, because that sometimes might have put off someone who would otherwise not have got it. Next up, I know this is a real shock. I've never actually seen this, and I've owned it in many guise. I think I've owned it on DVD and Blu-ray, and now on 4K. but I still haven't got around to actually watching it. But that's not to say that I'm not going to now. And that is Enter the Dragon. That is the this is the new 4K steelbook. Love that artwork. Yep, I know what it's about, but I'm not going to go into it. Actually, I've taken the paper slip off and put it inside, so I can't even read that out. But haven't actually seen it. Have a proper chance to now, and it's in its full glory. Watch Bruce in action. So yeah, that's that one. Almost at the end now, and one more to go before the last one. And next up we have the 4K steelbook for the first time release of Galaxy Quest. I've seen clips, really enjoyed it, but again, it's one I've got on DVD and on Blu-ray. Still never got round to watching it, and I really must. But at least now I've got the 4K 25th anniversary limited edition. There's no way it's going to get better than this, so I'm not going to be upgrading again. There's no point in going to, even if 8K ever exists, I honestly don't believe it's going to make any difference to my watching. I already need glasses to actually see the distance across my living room to tell the difference with Blu-rays anyway. So so very happy with this. I personally don't think the design is the greatest it could be, but I think that I'm very happy to have it, and I think the actors are certainly the greatest they can be. I mean, you can't really go wrong with Tim Allen in the lead, very funny guy. You've got Alan Rickman, the great Alan Rickman, Sigourney Weaver, and it just I've not heard a single bad thing about this film actually. So really looking forward to catching that at some point very soon. Again, that's one I probably should have watched whilst I had some time catching up with films that I recently. But what I did was I watched a couple of new ones, but then I had some comfort films, otherwise known as films that I'd seen before, and I wanted to see again. And finally we have coming soon to a double bill near me with Season 1. This is House of the Dragon Season 2 Special Edition Steelbook. To be honest, when I first heard about the series, I heard that the intention was to do 2 seasons and that was it, rather than make it a long-running thing like Game of Thrones. That's obviously not the case, because Season 3, they've already announced they're going to do it, and I think they've almost practically penciled in the date. But I'm not waiting until Season 3 physical comes out. And so I'm going to catch up with these 2, and then I'll just have to wait. Not really nice design on that slip. Not gloss. It's a matte finish. See lots and lots of warnings on the back about it being an 18 for language, violence, injury, detail, sex, threat, suicide, and nudity. Well, it's a Game of Thrones spin-off. If it didn't have those things, you'd be disappointed, wouldn't you? Or very surprised if not disappointed. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to having this one. Nice image, I think, on the front. nicer than the one on season 1. But each to their own. This was also got a different image on the actual steelbook, which is very nice. I think the image on steelbook is similar to the one on the Amaray, but that's lovely too. That's matte finish as well, perfect condition. Okay, to me that's great. And on the back, very nice. Got this little. Not going to go into the full thing because they're just postcards and whatnot in a little pack, which is a nice little envelope to keep them in. Almost use again on the top there, between the two factions. And yeah, really looking forward to watching that, and really pleased with that arrival. Anyway, that's the last of my November haul. Like I said, probably won't see me again before Christmas. Therefore, if I don't, and assuming I don't, please have a fantastic Christmas, and I hope you really enjoyed this haul video. And if you did, please could you give it a like, thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please could you subscribe, and when it hits my new year and or the next video anyway, you can get your notification there. Like I said, I have got some different plans other than haul videos. I know that I keep on saying that, but there were technical issues as well on a couple of them. But a lot of the stuff is now in place for new videos, so please be looking out for them. And like I said, and please like and subscribe if you can. And if you want to make any comments or ask any questions in the comments down below, please do. I always respond. So yeah, anyway, thank you again very much for watching, and please keep on enjoying all the movies, all the TV, all the physical media, and have a great Christmas.